Okay, so OpenAI's Dev Day, it really felt like they crammed a year's worth of AI progress.
It's a lot to process.
It really is.
Yeah.
New APIs, pricing changes.
Model updates that are unbelievable.
GPT-4 has been hitting the gym. Let's just say that.
It's been working out. Yeah.
But it really does feel like they're really focused on, okay, we've got these super advanced models. How do we make them usable for developers like you?
Yeah. I think that's the key takeaway is that they're really focusing on bridging that gap between research and like practical application.
Exactly. And one of the huge things that really stood out was their new Realtime API. And what this means is basically they've cracked the code for truly conversational AI.
Yeah, this has been something that people have been wanting for so long, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like the dream of having this back and forth with an AI that feels natural.
Exactly. And not like,
Something like you're talking to like a robot or, waiting for it to catch up.
yeah, you're having to like slow down your speech so it can understand you.
Right.
This is all about that smooth flow.
Exactly. And it's all powered by GPT-4o, which is kind of their like, souped up version.
Next generation.
Yeah, next gen. And yeah, it's pretty amazing what they've been able to achieve with it.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Give me an example. Like, let's say I'm building a language learning app.
Okay.
How does this real-time API actually make that app better?
So instead of you like saying a phrase in whatever language you're learning and then waiting for the app to process it and give you a response.
Right. Which, by the way, can be excruciatingly awkward.
It is. It takes you out of the experience.
Yeah.
Totally. Now imagine like you're having a conversation with a tutor and they are responding in real time.
Wow.
Like you would with another human.
And understanding the nuances of what you're saying.
Exactly. Picking up on your mistakes, correcting you in a very natural way.
So it's not just about the speed. It's also about the quality of the interaction.
Exactly. It's about making it feel like a real conversation, which is so important for learning.
Okay, so this all sounds amazing, but I'm already anticipating the question that I know is on everyone's minds, which is, how much is this going to cost?
Yeah, right. Because something this advanced has to be expensive, right?
It'd have to break the bank.
Actually, no. That's one of the coolest things about this. OpenAI has really focused on making it accessible. The pricing is based on something they call audio tokens, which sounds complicated, but it's basically like they break down every minute of speech into these tiny little chunks.
Okay.
And you only pay for each chunk.
Interesting.
And the cost per token is incredibly low. We're talking fractions of a cent per minute of real-time AI interaction.
Wow. So it's not just like a game changer in terms of the technology, but also potentially a game changer in terms of the business model.
Yeah, exactly. It's opening doors for smaller developers, startups, who maybe thought this kind of technology was completely out of reach.
Right. It really levels the playing field.
Exactly.
And as if that wasn't enough, they decided to drop another bombshell announcement, which is the ability to fine-tune GPT-4o with images and text.
Okay, this is where things get really mind-blowing.
It's next level, right?
Because we're not just talking about describing images anymore. We're talking about teaching GPT-4o to actually understand them.
To comprehend the context.
The nuances, everything.
So instead of just saying, okay, there's a cat stuck in a tree,
Yeah.
it can actually process all the other stuff that's going on in that image.
Exactly. It can understand the cat's predicament, the height of the tree, maybe even analyze the branches to see which one would be the safest to climb.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's about going beyond just recognizing objects to actually understanding the scene, the relationships between those objects.
The implications of those relationships.
Exactly. And that opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
Okay, so we're talking about mind-blowing potential here. But how about some concrete examples? Because I think sometimes it's hard to wrap your head around what this actually looks like in the real world.
Yeah, you need to see it to believe it, right?
Exactly. So hit me with it. Who's actually using this and what are they doing with it?
So OpenAI shared a really cool example with Grab.
For a ride-sharing company.
Exactly. They used this image and text fine-tuning to train their AI on images of streets and traffic signs.
Okay, so they're basically teaching AI to see the road like a human driver would.
In a way, yeah. But their focus wasn't on self-driving cars or anything. It was actually about improving their map data.
Interesting.
So by training GPT-4o to recognize things like lane markings, traffic signs, even those little arrows on the road.
The ones that tell you which lane to be in?
Exactly. They were able to increase the accuracy of their lane counts by 20%.
Wow, that's huge. Especially when you think about how many roads they're mapping all over the world.
It's a massive undertaking, and even a small improvement like that translates to a better experience for their users.
Right, because more accurate lane data means.
More accurate ETAs for rides, smoother pickups and drop-offs, the whole 9 yards.
That's all connected.
Exactly. And what's even more impressive is they achieved these results with a relatively small data set.
Really? How small are we talking?
Around 100 images.
That's it.
Yeah. Which just goes to show you the power of this technology.
It's incredible what you can do with just a little bit of data these days.
It's mind-blowing. And it's not just for these big companies with tons of resources either.
Right, because not everyone has a Google-sized budget for AI research.
Exactly. So OpenAI shared another use case, this one from a company called Automat.
What do they do?
They build software bots, the kind that automate tasks on your computer.
Oh, like those bots that can fill out forms or something.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the biggest challenges for these bots is actually seeing what's on the screen.
Because they don't have eyes.
Right. They rely on code to tell them where things are on the screen, which can be really brittle.
Yeah, because if the website design changes even a little bit...
The bot breaks.
Exactly.
So Automat used this image and text fine-tuning to train their bots to actually see the elements on the screen.
Like a human user would.
Exactly. So instead of relying on code to find a button or a menu, the bot can actually see it visually.
That's a game changer for those kinds of bots.
It is.
Right.
And the results speak for themselves. They saw a 272% increase in their bot's success rate after implementing this.
272%. That's insane.
It's a complete game changer, and it highlights how this technology can be used to solve real-world problems right now, today.
It's not just some futuristic sci-fi concept anymore.
It's here, and it's making things better in tangible ways.
I love it. Okay, so we've covered some seriously impressive stuff here. Seamless conversational AI with the Realtime API.
Image-powered fine-tuning that's changing the game.
Now it's time to talk about something that I know is near and dear to every developer's heart.
Hit me with it.
Making AI more affordable.
Ah, yes, the million-dollar question.
Because as cool as all this technology is, it's not very useful if only a handful of companies can afford to use it.
Right. It needs to be accessible to everyone.
Exactly. And that's where OpenAI's new model distillation offering comes in. Can you break this down for us?
Sure. So think of it like this. You've got this super smart, super powerful AI model.
Like GPT-4o?
Exactly. But using that model for every single task can be expensive.
Like hiring a 5-star chef to cook every meal.
Perfect analogy. So with model distillation, you're essentially training a smaller, less complex model to learn from that big, powerful model.
So it's like taking a cooking class from a master chef.
Exactly. You're not going to learn everything the master knows.
But you'll pick up enough to cook some amazing meals at home.
Precisely. And
Yeah.
you'll be able to do it without breaking the bank.
So you're distilling the knowledge of that big, expensive model into a smaller, more affordable one.
Exactly. And OpenAI has even created some tools to make this process easier.
Yeah.
One of them is called stored completions.
Okay, what does that do?
It automatically keeps a record of all the interactions your AI has had.
Like a transcript of every conversation.
Yeah. And then it uses that data to train your smaller distilled model.
So it's like the smaller model can learn from the experiences of the bigger model.
Exactly. It's a really clever way to transfer knowledge without having to start from scratch.
I love it. But how can developers be sure that this smaller distilled model is actually any good?
That's a great question. And OpenAI thought of that too. They've introduced a feature called Evals.
What does that do?
It lets you directly compare the performance of your smaller model against the original big, powerful model.
So you can see how well the student is stacking up against the teacher.
Exactly. You get to see how closely the distilled model's responses match the original model's responses.
And I'm guessing the closer the match.
The better. It means you've successfully distilled the essence of that big brain power into a more manageable package.
I love it. This is all fantastic stuff. Okay, so we've covered seamless conversational AI, image-powered fine-tuning model distillation to make AI more affordable.
OpenAI really brought it this year.
They really did. But they weren't done yet. They also had some updates about their O1 API. What's the deal there?
So this one is interesting because it shows that OpenAI is getting serious about O1 as a production-ready model.
Meaning it's not just an experiment anymore.
Exactly. They're putting their weight behind it. And they've taken a couple of steps to make it even more attractive to developers.
Like what?
Well, first, they've expanded access so more developers can get their hands on it.
That makes sense. Get it into the hands of more people.
Exactly. But the bigger news is they've increased the rate limits for O1.
Rate limits. For those who might not know.
Oh, right. So rate limits basically control how many requests you can make to the API per minute.
So it's like a speed limit.
Exactly. And before O1 had lower rate limits than GPT-4o, which made it difficult to use for certain applications.
Because if you hit the rate limit, your app would just stop working.
Exactly. It was a major bottleneck for some developers. But now OpenAI has increased the rate limits for O1 to be on par with GPT-4o.
Wow, so that's a huge vote of confidence in O1's capabilities.
Absolutely. It shows that they believe O1 can handle the same workloads as GPT-4o.
And potentially at a lower cost.
Exactly. So this is great news for developers who are looking for a more affordable but still incredibly powerful AI solution.
It's all about options, right?
Exactly. OpenAI is giving developers more choices than ever.
And speaking of choices, let's not forget about OpenAI's announcement about prompt caching.
Oh yeah, this is a big one, especially for developers working with chatbots.
So basically, instead of paying for the same prompt over and over again, OpenAI is now offering a discount.
You got it. And it's all automatic, so you don't have to change anything about how you're using the API.
OpenAI just takes care of it in the background.
Exactly. They recognize when you're using a prompt that's been used recently, and they automatically apply the discount.
And how much are we talking about here, discount-wise?
Up to 50% off.
Seriously. That's huge, especially for applications that rely heavily on repetitive prompts.
Exactly. Think about chatbots, for example.
Which often get asked the same questions over and over again.
All right. With prompt caching, those repetitive questions become a lot less expensive to handle.
That's brilliant. OpenAI is basically rewarding developers for efficiency.
I like to think of it as AI bulk pricing.
I love it. Saving money and making AI more efficient. It's a win-win.
Absolutely. And to top it all off, OpenAI has also given their Playground tool a makeover.
The Playground, that's their web-based tool for experimenting with their models, right?
Exactly. It's like a sandbox for developers to play around with different prompts and see what the AI can do.
I've used it before. It's actually really fun.
It is. And now it's even better.
Okay, so what's new? What do they change?
Well, they've made it a lot more user-friendly, especially for people who are new to AI development.
So they're trying to lower the barrier to entry even further.
Exactly. They want to make it as easy as possible for anyone to start experimenting with AI.
I like that approach a lot, because sometimes the technology can feel so intimidating.
It can be. But OpenAI is doing a great job of making it accessible to everyone.
So how have they made the Playground more user-friendly? Give me some specifics.
One of the coolest new features is the ability to describe what you want to build in plain English.
Wait, so instead of having to write out the code myself?
You can just tell the Playground what you want.
That's amazing. Like, what kind of stuff can you tell it to do?
Pretty much anything. You could say something like, I want to build a chatbot that can answer questions about space.
And it would just do it.
Well, it would help you get started. It would generate the initial prompts for you.
The prompts being the instructions you give to the AI.
Exactly. And it would also help you create the schemas.
The schemas. What are those?
They're basically like blueprints for your AI. They define the structure of the data that your AI will be working with.
So it's kind of like setting up the framework for your AI project.
Exactly. And the Playground will now do a lot of that heavy lifting for you.
That's incredible. It's like having an AI assistant that helps you build your AI.
Exactly. It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It really is. With all these updates, it really feels like OpenAI is going above and beyond to not just advance AI, but make it truly accessible to everyone.
I completely agree.
They're not just building amazing technology. They're building an ecosystem that empowers others to build amazing things with that technology.
And that's what's so exciting about all of this. It's not just about OpenAI. It's about what everyone can do with the tools they're creating. It's true. And it's not just about making it easier for experienced developers either. It's about making AI less intimidating for beginners.
Totally. Because let's be real, even with all the amazing tools in the world, getting started with AI can still feel like you're trying to build a rocket ship.
Right. Like, where do you even begin?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But OpenAI is really trying to bridge that gap, and the Playground is a perfect example of that.
It's like they're saying, hey, come on in, the water's fine.
Exactly. And speaking of making a splash, we've covered a ton of ground here today. From the Realtime API to image-powered fine-tuning to model distillation and prompt caching, it's clear that OpenAI is on a mission to not just push the boundaries of AI, but to make it accessible to everyone.
Absolutely. They're democratizing AI, giving everyone from individual developers to small startups the power to compete with the big players.
And that's what's so exciting about all of this. It's not just about the incredible technological advancements. It's about the potential they unlock for everyone.
Exactly, because ultimately AI isn't just about building smarter machines, it's about using those machines to solve real-world problems, to improve people's lives, to make the world a better place.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So as we wrap up this epic Dev Day deep dive, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from all of this?
That OpenAI is throwing open the doors to the AI revolution, and they're inviting everyone to join them. Whether you're a seasoned developer or just starting out, there's never been a better time to dive in and see what you can create.
It's an open invitation to shape the future.
Exactly.
Love it. Well said. That's a wrap on this Dev Day deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to check out the show notes for all the links and resources we talked about. Until next time, happy coding.